Hi, my name is Niharika and welcome to a new lesson. Today we are going to look at some vocabulary related to an aircraft and while you are aboard. Now, most of us have been on an aircraft before, and there are times when we get a little confused to use the right words. Now, of course, all the international airlines, the staff of the international airlines speak English. So it's important for us to know the right words, right? So in this lesson, I'm going to help you with the same. Let's have a look here. The first one is to board or to embark. Now, of course, when we are traveling by air, the first thing after you have checked in and after you've gone through your immigration process, the first thing that you do is you board an aircraft, right? Especially when you hear these announcements at the airport when they say that the flight so-and-so is ready to board. So this means that you are ready to go on the aircraft, okay? So you begin your process to enter the aircraft. So that is to board or to embark, okay? Then we have cabin. Now, the moment you enter the aircraft, you see the cabin. The cabin is the interiors of the aircraft. Okay, so it's the interior of an aircraft. Then we have a flight attendant. So when you enter the aircraft, there's this beautiful girl who welcomes you with a big smile and says, "Welcome aboard." So this lady is the flight attendant, okay? So she is the one, and other crew members are the people who are going to help the passengers during the flight, okay? So they will be there for your assistance. So they have different words, of course, commonly called as flight attendants. The girls, okay, are called air hostess, whereas the men are called stewards, okay? And they're also called as cabin crew. Okay, so they are the ones who help the passengers during a flight. Now we also have aisle. So after the lady has welcomed you, the first thing that you see in the aircraft is the aisle. Aisle is the open space that you walk through to find your seats, okay? And in any aircraft, you have a window seat and you have an aisle seat. Okay, so the window seat is, of course, the seat next to the window. Especially children would often go for window seats because they like seeing out of the window, right? Now, of course, we have aisle seats also. So the long passage in between the rows. Now, of course, you have aisle rows in a theater, in a supermarket, and in aircrafts, okay? So it's the long passage that you walk through. So the seats next to the aisle are called as aisle seats, okay? So many people prefer aisle seats, right? And of course, we also have middle seats in an aircraft. If it's a huge aircraft, then we have middle seats also, which usually I don't prefer because it's not too comfortable, okay? So these are the types of seats that you have on an aircraft. Now let's have a look here. We have overhead bin. Now, overhead bin are these compartments where you can store your carry-on luggage, okay? So you have these laptop bags or your small carry-on bags that you carry when you walk into the aircraft. So you are supposed to store this in the overhead cabin, okay? So it's right above your seats. Okay, so these are called as overhead bins or overhead compartments, okay? Then let's have a look here. We have galley. Now, galley is a place where all your meals are stored, okay? The flight attendants prepare or they heat the meals that are to be served to the passengers, okay? So that is called as a galley. And we also have a cockpit. Of course, cockpit is the most important part of the aircraft. It's the control room for the pilots. So the pilots and of course the pilot and the co-pilot, they sit in the cockpit in order to control the aircraft. Okay, it's really interesting. As a kid, I used to be really inquisitive to go see what's there in the cockpit. It's just so bright and several buttons. It's really interesting. So that's a cockpit. And of course, we have the pilot and a co-pilot. They're also called as captains. Okay, so they are the ones who control or who fly your aircraft. Okay, so they are the ones who take all the risk. Okay, of course, aircrafts are risky. I mean, at least I find them a little risky. So they are the people who take care, who fly the airplanes. Okay, so pilot is the main captain, and whereas the co-pilot is the assistant to the pilot, right? So these are the things that you would see in an aircraft.